Alrighty. First of all, quick warning. This video is probably going to be kind of long, so just skip through the parts that you find interesting or that you think you might need help with. Yeah, because I'm just going to go ahead and do what it takes to get this project finished. Let's start back over here. So we are looking at lesson 14, which is, there's not much in the lesson. It's just making your website with a CSS. So just as we're finalizing this unit, HTML and CSS, finalizing our web dev part of CS Discoveries, we're gonna make our website. You're making sure that you're matching the rubric. We're gonna get a chance to show off our websites again on Google Classroom and get feedback from our classmates, and that's basically all that this has to say. On Google Classroom itself, I did post the rubric so you can look at it there, but also you can download it here and look at it. This is the rubric, and we'll take a look at that in like a second, but let's just keep going. So that was bubble 1. We're going to look over at bubble 2. So this is it. You've been working on your personal website for the entire unit, put the finishing touches on it, submit it to your teacher, put it in, submit it on Google Classroom, and remember to use the problem-solving process as your guide in preparing your final product. So we've got the define, plan, try, reflect that we saw at the very beginning of the unit. And so define, read the rubric so you know what is expected. That makes sense, right? We should see. So let's go back to the rubric and just make sure that we got it. So using computer languages, we need to make sure the website uses both CSS and HTML, that there are minimal syntax errors, and that the page renders correctly, meaning that the page works, right? You send it and the page is functional. Modularity and abstraction. All style rules are used in are in external style sheets with a descriptive name, and the style sheet is linked to the appropriate pages on the website. So anywhere I should be using CSS, and it should be attached to the HTML so that it actually works. I want at least 2 different classes, and this was from lesson 13. We saw what classes are. You need to use at least 2 specific classes used on multiple different elements, right? Because a class lets you put style on various things, header 2, header 5, paragraph, list. They can all, if you give them the class, they can all just follow that style. So at least 2 different classes used on a couple different elements in HTML. And we'll see that as I'm going through this. Creating a digital artifact. You need to use RGB colors in at least 2 places on your website somewhere. And the website must use at least 10 different CSS properties and styles, both for the layout and the text of the page. Okay, great. Debugging clean code. Code is consistently well formatted, making sure you're doing your indentations nicely. Use comments throughout the site to make sure that the code is more readable. Responsible creation consumption. Don't give away any personal information, especially if you're going to be sharing this out with people. And then also responsible use of media. If you're using an outside media source, make sure you have given credit where it's due, CC by, who the author is, where you can get the page, etc., etc. Okay, check the rubric, and we're on to plan. Decide what you need to do. So I think what I need to do is I need to make sure, first of all, that my HTML is all good and it works with just the skeleton of it before I start working on the CSS, because I don't really have any CSS. And then I think this is just an example project, so I'm not going to go too crazy. This third page is kind of gross. Oh, there's actually already an issue there. I don't have the navigation bar on that. So that's the thing. And I think if I want to go real crazy, I might do some crazy CSS stuff, just Googling, because I forgot how to do it since last time I've done this, how to make that menu look like real nice. I want this navigation bar to look pretty rad. So that's my goal. Let's jump to it. So I'm gonna go to my third page because it's pretty meh. I don't know what content I'm gonna add to this. Maybe I'll just make the styling super, super cool. But before that, I need to make sure that I get my navigation bar up and running on this third page. So I'm just going to copy and paste my navigation bar up there. Should work. So now I should be able to click around from any page to any page. Looking pretty sweet. Okay. Okay, well, let's minimize the instructions and kind of get to it a little bit. So I'm going to add a CSS, and I will call it style.css. I'm just going to call it style.css. I think it's going to work for everything. So this is the default. Let's first start by in the head putting that style sheet in there, right? So it's, I think, ref, no, whoa. I forgot this. Let's look it up. Adding a style sheet to HTML. Right, you can always Google it if you have issues, and you don't need to memorize everything, right? That's kind of the beauty of it. No, I want to add a style sheet in the head. No. I want a style sheet. Link, not ref. Okay. Yes. So it was link with a relation or rel? With a relation as a style sheet. As a style sheet. And then the reference, the href, is style.css. Great. Close that link out. It's just like that, right? Boom. Inside the head. And I'm going to put that style sheet, I'm going to link it to all of my HTML pages because I want to have mine, not this one. I'm going to make a separate style sheet for that. Let's make a third page style. I'm going to make a separate style sheet just because the third page is going to be weird. So in this, I'm going to make a link to a, how did it go? Relation style sheet, and the href is going to equal third page style.css. Alrighty. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have two separate style sheets. Okay. It defaulted to body background white. Let's do RGB, and let's play around with this a little bit. Maybe like, I don't want to have a dark background. I find that kind of hard to read on, but let's do some light colors. Maybe like 30, red, make it kind of maybe 15 and another 30. Let's see what that looks like. So we're on the third page, but if I go home now, oh, that's not light at all. That's very dark. Okay, well, let's keep playing around with it. Let's make it, all right, so let's go to the other end of the spectrum. 245, and 210. Okay, I'm kind of feeling that color. That's not too bad. Nice looking color. Okay, that's not bad. Now, instead of doing paragraph in H1, I'm going to make a new rule. And I'm going to make a dot navbar rule. And we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm also going to make a dot content rule. And I'm going to make a dot headings rule. So the headings in all my pages are going to be, I'll call this like top headings. And what am I going to say? I'm going to say font size, and that's going to be big. It's going to be like 50 pixels. And so now, if I go to my index, and this part over here is going to be a class equals heading. I believe this is how it goes. No? Let's refresh it. Is H1 just happen to be exactly 50 pixels? Oh, well, I didn't. Okay. Let's call it top headings. Ah, see? Then it changed it. Okay, cool. Let's do more. So, great. Big header, big top heading over there. But we're going to make it, let's add more to this rule. Style.css. Maybe I'm going to add font family. Oh, why is this blue? Don't want errors. Need a semicolon at the end of every part of my style sheet. Font family is, I think I liked cursive from before. Semicolon there. Refresh it. Great, an amazing index page. And now, so if I go to my second page, I want to make sure that my heading over here is matching that heading class. And I'm actually going to add some more content. This will be a, and watch, it doesn't really matter if I make it a paragraph or not, because I'm going to say, all right, the second page and the paragraph. But now if I make the class equal to top headings, even though it's a paragraph, it's going to follow the rule from the heading class because I made it a headings, part of the headings class, right? Let's keep on going. Let's see, amazing index page. Let's change our content a little bit. Let's put that on a ooh, okay. I kind of like this. So all my content is going to be just like everything that's inside and normal. We'll make the font size for all of the content 20 pixels. And we're going to make the font family monospace. And so now here in the index.html, all of this stuff is my content. So that means I'm going to have to say class equals content. And this also, I'm going to have to say this is part of the content. So I'm going to say class equals content. And look at that. That actually does it for everything in the list. Now, what I'm also going to do, though, is in my style.css, let's do, if you are in a UL, your rule is going to be background. It's going to be RGB. And I'm going to do 255 everywhere just to see if this works. So UL, background should be white. Yeah. Why not? I like that. That's cool. Let's see the second page. Okay. So, all right, I'm just going to do one last cool thing. This, like I said, this would take a long time if I showed you the process of me making the entire website. But, you know, you're just playing around with it, playing around with your CSS rules, see what you like. I am, though, going to make this navigation bar, like, pretty rad. And so what I'm going to look up is, I'm just going to Google CSS, like, navigation bar buttons. And we're just going to learn how to do this ourselves. W3 Schools, great resource. And so I want it to look something like this. That's what I'm talking about when I have a cool navigation bar up there. So over here, let's see. It looks like they're putting their navigation bar on a list. And then they're doing this rule for my style sheet. Huh. It's an unordered list. All right, I mean, let's follow along and see how it goes. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy this unordered list rule. I'm not sure what this list style type, margin, and padding is. We haven't seen that yet, but that's okay. And in my style.css, we're going to make, instead of a UL rule, we're going to make it all in the navbar rule. So I'll get rid of this UL bit. Oh, no. I'll get rid of this UL bit, and we're just going to put that in the navbar class rule. It should be okay. Should be okay. And so now here in my index.html, I think we do need to make it a UL. Sorry about that. I don't want to mess with what they gave us. So sorry, UL rule. Getting rid of that white background. And well, that's kind of interesting. This is a problem because I don't want this to affect the ULs down here. So this would be making, okay, cool. So this is going to be, well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Huh? Well, we'll see. All right. This is messing up my unordered list over there. I'll just turn it into an ordered list, I guess. Just to not change it that much. Sure. And that way I can play around with this being inside of an unordered list. So I'm going to make an unordered list up here. Make each of these guys list items. And li. Oh, look at that. It indented automatically for me. Li. And li. Li. And li. And we will end the unordered list. That's not what I want. That doesn't make it look beautiful like that. Having easy to use navigation is important for any website. With CSS, you can transform boring HTML menus into good looking nav bars. A navigation bar is just a list of links. Yeah. Removes the bullets. Yeah. But how do I make it look like nice? Do I hit next and go to the next one? Ooh, okay. Here we go. So now our list item, we can follow these out. Let's try this. Display it as a block. And a width of 60 pixels. Okay, I think that's the only change. So we're going to bring this over here. We want a width. Was it a width? Yeah, width of 60 pixels. Width is 60 pixels. And then in my list item, we're just going to display it as a block. And now that's worse. Why is it worse? Oh, this is what we want. This is what we really want. All right, we're just going to take all this information and toss it over there. Oof. Okay. Now it's looking okay. It's not highlighting it though. We need to add a highlight hover. So we just add this into it. So by the way, just this is kind of showing off that there's so much more to learn for CSS and HTML. We're just seeing like the very, very basics of this before we move on to JavaScript. But there's so many things that like web design is not my particular forte. There's so many things that I still don't really know how to do. But you can just like look stuff up on W3 Schools, look stuff online, Google it, and you can start making really cool stuff on your website. I'm going to end it for now. I think that was enough you seeing me be confused and like playing around with this, but now my nav bar looking pretty cool, and it should have automatically done it on all of them, but it didn't because I haven't put these inside ULs and LIs. So if I put this inside of an unordered list and make each of these, what am I doing that for? Let's do this. Index.html, copy my nav bar here, and I can pop it down like that, pop it down like that, and now we've got our navigation bars looking pretty rad. Why is this one no good? This one's no good because I linked the third page style sheet. I'm just going to link the regular style sheet because I'm about to end this video. And now the nav bar between all of them is like really, really looking good. I could do it horizontal, and I'm sure if you just go on to the next one, this is showing a vertical navigation bar. I bet if you followed W3 or Google W3 School's horizontal navigation bar, it would show you the code to put in there for that. Anyways, so that was just me. I don't know why maybe you're interested in this, but just some cool things you can do to add to your website. Play around with the CSS. Check the rubric to make sure that it matches and looks like you're following all the things. Have two different classes using RGBs. We fulfilled a bunch of those things there, but it's not perfect yet, right? I would keep making more edits to this website to make sure that it matches everything in the rubric. But for the interest of time and not wasting yours, just watching me mess around with this, I'm going to end the video here, and I'll post the finished website along with the video as an example so you guys can like see more stuff. Okay, cool. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.